Well, gracious greetings, St. Stephen family and guests. Welcome to another edition of Living Water for a Thirsty Thursday. Have you ever heard someone say, man, that hard head is going to make a soft bottom? Or you just heard someone just flat out say, man, that person sure is hard-headed. What about someone that is just firm-willed, right? They're just gonna, their will is their way, period. What is someone really trying to say when they are using those terms, that hard head is going to make a soft bottom, or that person is hard-headed? What is it they're trying to say? I think what they're trying to say in some form or fashion is that we are stubborn. Yeah, over the next few rounds, we're going to talk about this word stubbornness. First of all, do you think being stubborn is something that is negative? Is there anything wrong with a person that is stubborn? More specifically, since we are believers and we're talking about God's word, does God see stubbornness as a sin? So is it sinful to be stubborn? Or to go one step further, what is stubbornness? Of course, if you look it up in the Bible, Hebrew or Greek, it speaks of someone that is revolting against. It speaks of someone that is rebellious, and we know the root of rebellious is a rebel. And have you ever heard that term, a rebel without a cause? That means they're just being difficult just to be difficult. It's not by principle, it's not by law, it's just how I feel. And I think even inside of stubbornness, the main thing that drives a lot of our stubbornness is those three F's. It's feelings, definitely. Our feelings make us stubborn. Some facts, as we interpolate those facts that are around us, kind of get us in this place where we become stubborn as well. So our feelings, our facts, those things can definitely come in, and then our fears. And so when we have fears about something, we can be stubborn as well. So I think those three F's tend to drive the boat quite a bit. And so when you look around the landscape of our world, of course, starting with ourselves, but people you know, people you work with, people in your family, when you see people in line, or you see something going on with just human dynamics and someone is stubborn, or you see people driving and someone's trying to move in and this person just keeps moving up to not allow them to be in. They're just being stubborn, right? They're just being a rebel. They're just being difficult. Another word is obstinate, where you are putting in an obstacle to someone else who's trying to move forward. There's really no real reason other than some feeling we may have, some perceived fact that we may have picked up, or some deep-seated fear we may possess. But stubbornness, if we really look at it, especially if you look in the church, right, or you look in your household, and of course if we look within ourselves and our relationship with God, you can see that it has a very prominent role in a lot of our lives. So yes, within ourselves, stubbornness makes us do and act in a way that we probably shouldn't, because we move to this sense of entitlement. And so even though it's wrong, I still do it. You remember this song, or a quote within a song that said, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Right? That doesn't make it right. That's just a stubbornness, right? That's just a revolt against, right? That's a rebel, just going against what is right. So those types of things obviously start within us. And then you look around in our family, stubbornness with, what we do within the house and how we operate within the household. It's simple. We can all just go right, but someone has to be stubborn and say, no, I'm going to go left, right? And then, of course, within our churches, same thing. It would just be so simple if everyone just kind of did it this way and worked together and worked collaboratively and walked in step. But invariably, someone is going to say, now, because I feel this way, because I fear this happening, because the facts tell me this, I'm going to be stubborn. right? I'm going to be hard-headed. I'm going to revolt. I'm going to rebel. Well, how serious is God about this? And we're not going to unpack it all today, but I just want you to hear this passage because this kind of speaks to the gravity of how God views stubbornness. And it's when he's just kind of in the book of Deuteronomy in the 21st chapter, where he's literally just kind of laying out all of the different rules, if you would, of the law, right? And so in verse 18 of chapter 21 of Deuteronomy, he's talking about a family. He's talking about a mother, a father, and a child. And this word stubborn comes up. Listen to this. If a man have a stubborn, there it is, a rebellious, revolting, rebel, obstinate. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious, so it adds it in there, just pushing back, rebellious son, which will not obey. So again, now we add that next element in there where stubbornness has something to do with disobedience. Very key. Which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother. And that when they have chastened him, maybe they didn't spare the rod and they didn't spoil it, they went on and used it so that they didn't spoil the child. They gave him a little correction. Will not hearken unto them. Still didn't listen, even though we gave him a timeout or we gave him a punishment or we gave him a correction, a rod of correction. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place. Listen to this. And when they shall say unto the elders of his city, and the elders just means the spiritual leaders, this our son is stubborn. He's obstinate. He's rebellious. He's a revolter. He's hard-headed. He won't listen. He's disobedient and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton, which means he does a lot of what he wants to do, right? It could, of course, just simply mean eats a lot, but it's speaking of doing a lot of what you want to do in the context. And a drunkard. So now we hear a little bit more about how this son operates and what this son does, a glutton and a drunkard. Then it says, and all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die, that the son dies. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And this comes under, or talking about the context of various laws. Now, we'll unpack this more, but I pray that you hear the gist of this, that God is trying to paint a portrait of how serious, stubborn, hard-headedness, revolting, being a rebel, being disobedient, what it means. Because these are parents that have a child. How many times are children disobedient? All the time. And God has in his word where that child, after trying to correct him and trying to go through a process and going further and further, that you finally just stone him. I know that's some harsh stuff, but I just wanted to put that out there just to highlight the point that God takes stubbornness very seriously. How stubborn are you? And are you one that can put your faith over your feelings, over the facts, over your fears? We're going to see as we unpack it. Continue to make God proud in all you say, think, and do.